Hey, what's going on, guys? It's No Shoes, and we're back with another Aesop Frock Day. Today, we're going to be reacting to Fumes. This was suggested by Leo, guys, so thank you, Leo, for the suggestion. Keep it coming in the comments down below. Let me know what y'all want to see for the next Aesop Frock Day, but without any further ado, let's get right into this. Let's see what Fumes is all about. Let's see what Aesop got to say. Let's get it.
You ain't shit, man. Your story's a joke. You should package it with a lot of smoke and 6 feet of rope. Stay awake, little miss.
Very interesting intro. Starting off with that guitar, then it starts to fade down, fade down, fade down. Aesop comes in pretty quickly, gives us a little bit of his vocal, and then we have some more strings come in. Honestly, couldn't tell you what instrument. Maybe an acoustic guitar or bass. Not really sure. It's got a nice feel to it. Let's see where it takes us.
Stay awake, little misfit. Her lips wet a very particular mischief. Sis wiggling index if your limbs let. Settle for a warm burgundy bubble out of her beak instead. Hey, tequila to free the worm. Had his liver scuba suit up on a Sabbath. His personal pale rabbit. At the hole's end, her delicate mitten tipped. For stick and pissy liquor in him every day at 6. Silly predictability is a.
You know, what's crazy about Aesop is that sideways syncopated feeling that he just has locked in across so many of his tracks. The way the drum pattern aligns with the strings, aligns with his vocal, aligns with whatever other elements that might get added or that I might have missed so far. Those little record scratches that he adds in, just beautiful the way it feels. But in a way, it adds this extra layer of complexity to these tracks that you just can't achieve any other way.
Liver scuba suit up on a Sabbath, his personal pale rabbit. At the hole's end, her delicate mitten tipped. For stick and pissy liquor in him every day at 6. Silly predictability is a bitch. Fully patterned, had her awkwardly christening the small talk chalkboard. She said, less of a fixer-upper than my last bar. Funny, you're less of a fixer-upper than my last tour. Crass is Similac to the milky wit of today's youth. Both chuckle.
And nice how he achieves almost like a call and response by changing the effects on his voice for a bar, so that way, you know, it still sounds like Ace, and obviously it is, but it feels like a different person in the context of the track. Adds a nice dimension there.
Of a fixer-upper than my last tour. Crass is Similac to the milky wit of today's youth. Both chuckle out. Next couple on a house, next couple on a couch. Swapping social cormorants, phobias and soldier doubts. Jokes and corporate mogul bands, motor mounts. The key to open is closure. Pussy plus yay, she hid in a broken toaster. And later wake neighbors over chemical flavor. The fuck sickly. Tooth nail beauty through the skin.
An object at rest tends to remain at rest. And an object in motion tends to remain in motion with the same speed. Slow down. With the same speed.
Okay, wild, man. We got like a flute or something diddling around up in the top. Great addition. Adds a nice bit of brightness to this mostly darker and deeper track. And then the sample of whoever that is explaining some of the laws of physics. I think they're talking about inertia and all of that. Just great addition. Still figuring out how that all links in, but it's got a great feel to it.
Same speed. Slow down. With the same speed. Slow down. With the same speed. Slow down. And in the same direction.
Night of dizziness is similar to whimsy with a pretty twist. If pretty is a bidding war for meteors of Iffy sniffing cigarettes and pills on a speaker silhouette about a muted television and the rickety Venetians. Between tweaks, he sweeps at Home Depot and reads. Most
something that I absolutely love about Aesop that I don't think I've really seen any other rappers do is there are points in his tracks where he just leaves end rhymes completely behind. He says, screw it. I don't need them. I don't need it to rhyme at the end because it's still going to sound dope. The way he works his flow out, maybe there's some internal rhymes that add that level of like rhyme satisfaction that we all look for out of tracks, but that delivery at the end is really what sells it.
Nations. Between tweaks, he sweeps at Home Depot and reads. Mostly biblical, but not cause he believed. But found a lexicon of Jesus, heavy literature fly. Feverishly sponged up the information high. Faded to the cradle of his same deck. Train wreck, she pet him with a mechanical tape deck. Playback plus the depressing sum of the two combined paychecks.
And then some of the like very slight bends, like tape deck to play back. It's very close. You could bend back to back, but it's going to play back. You got to say it fast. It works, though.
Tape deck playback plus the depressing sum of the two combined paychecks. Sung less when little Debbie Deca put her legs back. Drunk, put her on a business end of his favorite couplet from Corinthians. Sunk into the comforts of a kid again, enough to share the stuff that truly interests them. This is where the vision of a shiny happy Christmas and tipsy little princess wasn't listening, just
and beautiful of evolution to this instrumental underneath his vocal. Now we got some strings coming in at the top. Sounds kind of like an orchestra. We definitely got some layers going on there. Again, it brings that brightness in. Ace has that deep bassy voice. Then we got the drums, which, you know, obviously the cymbals, hi-hat and everything, they hit higher notes, but they're not really musical in that way. They're just the rhythm elements, of course. And then you have a bass line coming through. Let's bring this back.
interesting. This is where the vision of a shiny happy Christmas and tipsy little princess wasn't listening, just yesing him. The more she fed him, yes, the more he fed a fresh barbiturates, assuming it was them against the world into oblivion. But he was just a stupid simian and let her live with it.
An object at rest tends to remain at rest. And an object in motion tends to remain in motion with the same speed,
Slow down.
with the same...
And then I'm not sure if the crackle was coming through before, but it's definitely coming through strong at this point in the track, especially coming into the hook. That like vinyl warmth, maybe even you know, cassettes even can have a little bit of that crackle to them. Just beautiful analog type of sound coming from there.
motion with the same speed,
Slow down.
with the same speed,
Slow down.
with the same speed,
Slow down.
and in the same direction.
Pirouetting madly on a mirror full of baggies in a valley of the irritable Aggie. Any sincerity, miracles, a memory buried in a backseat by the hazardous materials was seriously gasping. Here he is in action, trying to patch up the attraction. Figured he would win her back if he acted a common passion. Penned a couple chapters about a sassy pair of magnets with a cottage on a hill and a picket fence and a marriage. Never having gathered.
And then the way he's grouping his bars, especially in the flow we're just hearing now, is beautiful. The way he's breaking that bar line. So we're getting two bars, part of the same sentence, and then we get a breath. Then two bars, one sentence, breath. And that connection in the middle of those two bars really leads to almost it feels like the flow is faster, even though it's really at the same speed. He's just substituting one breath for a syllable. Maybe not exactly that arrangement, but that's essentially the idea behind it.
Fence and a marriage, never having gathered a rabid enthusiasm over language was fashioned around the aspirin in his cabinets. Asked her to read it, expecting flattery after the fact. This is an exact imitation of how she reacts. You ain't shit, man. Your story's a joke. You should package it with a last smoke and 6 feet of rope. Man, she knows 5 chores, more coke in all 4. Said, leave me on the floor and leave the dope by the door. Bounce, store shook up.
Yeah. and that call and response feeling comes back, the heavier effects on that response voice, maybe, I don't know, slightly more muffled feeling to it. It feels a little bit further away. And excuse me, maybe a slightly wider reverb on it.
Floor, leave the dope by the door. Bounce, store shook up, she cook up aluminum. Consuming every skull and crossbones in the room. And under 2 minutes, he fuming with a flip lid. Storm into the crib and found her body on the tiles. Like, no, she did it, yes, she did. Nigga, wake, little misfit. Her lips wet, a very particular mischief. Sis, wiggling index if your limbs let. Settle for a warm burgundy bubble out of her big
An
instead.
object at rest tends to remain at rest. And an object in motion tends to remain in motion with the same speed,
Slow down,
with the same speed,
slow down,
with the same speed,
slow down,
and in the same direction.
Beautiful. Yeah. Great evolution to the track. Love that hook. Using the sample and then having that record scratch to kind of manipulate it. Great choice. The bass line and the way it interplays with the drums really accentuates that syncopated feeling, especially at the end of the bass line before it kind of loops back again, where it starts to get a little bit higher in the register of the bass. And again, that flute just kind of going crazy over the top just adds that brightness that brings everything together. The little bit of salt that brings out the flavor and everything else. Ooh. And then like the power down feel. Great, awesome. And the last thing is very faintly at the end there, we get that guitar coming back from the intro, almost making this track feel like a loop, circular. The end and the beginning are the same, and you just keep rolling through it. Regardless, that was Fumes by Aesop Rock. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope y'all did as well. Thank you to Leo for the suggestion. Keep them coming in the comments down below. We got more Aesop Rock coming every single Friday. Much love to everybody in the No Shoes gang. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell. And I will see you all next time.